Today I wanted to talk about triggers, emotional triggers that cause stress and anxiety, hot buttons, what causes us upset in our lives, and how to develop awareness, mindfulness, and emotional resiliency so that you can live a more balanced and peaceful life. And I have a brilliant technique that I came up with to help you reduce negative triggers, to reduce emotional triggers that will prevent you from upsets and stress and anxiety and fear. And they're simple. The simple technique is the 3 I's. They are identify, intervene, and integrate. Identify, intervene, and integrate. And by the end of the talk today, you'll have tools to help you reduce or eliminate or manage your emotional triggers by identifying them, intervening, and integrating them into your life. So the first I is identifying. And this is key. This is mindfulness itself. Mindfulness just means awareness, being aware of the kinds of thoughts you think that trigger emotional upsets. So what are your triggers? What are your hot buttons? And it's a good thing to write a journal, to write in your journal what might be those hot buttons. And it could be around, let's see, failures. It could be around disrespect. It could be around conflict. It could be people. It could be environmental issues. It could be situational issues, stuff that really bugs you, stuff that triggers you, and how you can reduce those triggers by being aware of them. So the first thing is identifying the triggers. Now, for me, I can give an example. When I was giving talks and speeches, and I would screw up in my speech, or I would suddenly blank out. For days after, I would regurgitate and ruminate on those failures, and it would bug me. It would just drive me crazy. That was a trigger that really upset me and caused me a lot of anxiety because I would just ruminate and go over and over again. How could I have done that? I made such a boo-boo. I made such a... Or maybe I said something inappropriate during a conversation with people. And I would beat myself up because I'm so achievement-oriented, I guess, and it really affected my self-esteem, and I thought I was less than. And over the years, I've really improved, and I have fewer emotional triggers, primarily because of my mindfulness and meditation practice. When you become more aware and you're less judgmental, that's an element of mindfulness, right? Where you're less judgmental of your mind and of your thoughts, and you're more accepting of who you are. So the first key is identifying. Identify the kinds of triggers. And you can really be triggered by your family because they tend to know you, and they almost have the right to criticize you or to judge you. And you can become very triggered by your family or by your spouse or by your partner. So that's one thing to keep in mind, how you're triggered and who you're triggered by and what are your triggers. So writing down in a journal, becoming more emotionally resilient and more emotionally or cognitive of why you are triggered by these certain events. It's also almost like, too, when you're driving your car, right? Somebody cuts you off and you react. And that methodology is not the best methodology. It could end up into road rage, right? It could cycle, it could escalate. So it's really important to be aware of the kinds of things that trigger you. So the second I is intervention. And intervention is such an important thing. It takes mindfulness. You have to see it. But you can use tools like practice your breathing during an emotional upset. You can count to 10. You can physically remove yourself from the environment. You can walk out the door for a few minutes. You can do something physical. You can listen to music. You can visualize a peaceful environment in your mind. You can just knock yourself out of it somehow. Just be more aware of it and realize that it is not worth getting all upset over something. And your meditation practice and mindfulness practice really comes into play here because you have trained the elephant to go where you want it to go. The elephant is the mind, and you're more cognizant of the kinds of mind activity that occurs. So another methodology is cognitive reframing. And that's a really good thing. It's like being the fly on the wall, right? Having objectivity, zooming out and seeing yourself in the environment where your emotional upset, your emotional trigger, your hot button is being activated, and the patterns that come around. That's a really great thing to do. And I remember Tony Robbins would give him and his wife the 90-second rule. The 90-second rule was, if we're in the throes of a heated argument, to realize that you only have 90 seconds in which to express the emotionality, the anger, the upset, the stress, the fear, whatever's going on, and then realize 90 seconds is up, life's too short. And it takes quite a bit of will to be able to be mindful enough to stop that pattern in its tracks after 90 seconds. But, I understand Tony Robbins' idea, because life is so short. You don't want to be in the space of anger. Some people will ruminate on it and live in that anger and have regret over it and sleep on it. You go to bed in anger, and that's no good. That doesn't serve anyone at all, right? So that 90-second rule is really good. So the intervention is really important. That's the second I. Now, the third I is integration. Now, in mindfulness meditation practice, we integrate our practice into our daily lives. And that takes practice. That takes sitting with yourself and noticing your patterns and being accepting of yourself and being less judgmental of yourself, and training the mind to be aware of the kinds of thoughts that arise in the mind so that you can stop that reactivity and you respond, you intervene. And you respond, and you're more gentle with the situation. You're not as hard on the other person or the other situation. You're more compassionate. You become more compassionate, and you see that this trigger, this hot button that you're expressing, that you're activating, isn't useful. And last week in our meditation practice, I talked about looking at the mind and asking yourself whether the thoughts you're thinking are useful. And I've been doing that this week. Are the thoughts I'm thinking useful? And in a reactivity mode, when your hot buttons are being pressed, you can ask yourself, are these thoughts useful? And generally they're not, right? Generally, you might have feelings of failure, feelings of disrespect, feelings of stress and anxiety, feelings of conflict. A lot of us get triggered by conflict. I know I do sometimes I don't like conflict. And I'm aware of these things, you see, and that helps me become more balanced in my life. I have more peace in my life. So hot buttons, triggers, meditation and mindfulness reduce and help you eliminate and manage effectively your life for a more peaceful, happy life. Yay! If you enjoyed this video, why not hit the like button? It's free. It costs you nothing. Subscribe to my channel and get more insights into meditation and mindfulness and personal growth.